A mile-wide wedge of rotating darkness drops into the frame from the left, filling the entire horizon, moving east at 50 miles per hour, consuming everything in its path.
This is a large tornado on the ground. Please take cover immediately. This is a very violent tornado.
You can see roofs lifting off houses. You can see that is meteorologist James Spann on ABC 33/40 in Birmingham, broadcasting live as a high-end EF4 tornado devours the city of Tuscaloosa. Millions of people across Alabama are watching. There is no tape delay. There is no post-event footage. This is happening right now on live television, and it will not stop for another hour. April 27th, 2011. The deadliest tornado day in the United States since 1925. 362 tornadoes across the South, 247 dead in Alabama alone. 4 EF5 tornadoes in a single afternoon. And this one, the Tuscaloosa-Birmingham tornado, is the face of the outbreak. To understand what happened in Tuscaloosa, you have to understand what happened to Alabama that entire day. April 27, 2011 was not a single tornado event. It was a siege, a multi-wave onslaught that began before dawn and did not end until after midnight. The first round struck at 4 a.m., a line of severe thunderstorms and embedded tornadoes that raked across northern Alabama in the darkness, knocking out power to hundreds of thousands of homes. By sunrise, much of the state was without electricity. Weather radios were dead, television was off, cell towers were down. The state was blind, and the day's worst weather had not even begun. Alabama sits in what meteorologists call Dixie Alley, the Southeast's answer to the Great Plains Tornado Alley. The Gulf of Mexico is close, providing an almost unlimited supply of warm, moist air. The terrain is hilly and forested, making tornadoes harder to see than on the open plains. And the housing stock is older, more affordable, and less likely to include basements or safe rooms. In many low-income communities, mobile homes are the primary shelter. Tuscaloosa is a university city, home to the University of Alabama and a student population of roughly 37,000. But it is also a city of sharp economic contrasts. Neighborhoods like Rosedale, Forest Lake, and Alberta City, just south and east of campus, were home to some of Tuscaloosa's most vulnerable residents. Low-income families, elderly people on fixed incomes, and renters in aging, poorly anchored housing. These neighborhoods sat directly in the tornado's eventual path. By the afternoon of April 27th, the power was still out for much of the state. The Storm Prediction Center had issued its most extreme forecast, a high risk for severe weather with the potential for long-track, violent tornadoes. It was the most dangerous atmospheric setup many forecasters had seen in their careers. And a significant portion of Alabama's population could not receive the warnings. The ingredients were historic. A powerful upper-level trough, a deep dip in the jet stream, was carving southeast across the Mississippi and Ohio river valleys. Ahead of it, a surge of Gulf moisture had pushed dew points into the low 70s across Alabama and Mississippi. Cape values were exceeding 3,500 joules per kilogram. The air was explosive, unstable to a degree rarely measured outside of peak outbreak seasons. Wind shear was extreme at every level. Surface winds from the south, mid-level winds from the southwest at 60 to 80 knots. Deep layer shear values were among the highest ever documented in association with a tornado outbreak. A powerful low-level jet, a concentrated river of wind flowing just a few thousand feet above the surface, was injecting warm air and moisture into the storm environment like a fuel line into a furnace. The cap, the layer of warm, dry air that normally suppresses storm development, had already been broken by the morning storms. There was nothing left to hold the atmosphere back. An EF5 struck Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, killing 72 people. An EF5 hit Smithville, Mississippi, killing 23. Another EF5 formed in DeKalb County, Alabama. And then, at 4:43 p.m. Central Daylight Time, the Tuscaloosa tornado touched down. The tornado forms in rural Greene County, Alabama, west of Tuscaloosa, at approximately 4:43 p.m. Central Daylight Time. A massive wedge funnel drops from a low-based wall cloud 50 miles per hour. Within minutes, it intensifies to EF3, then EF4. It is heading directly for Tuscaloosa. The first tornado warning for the cell had been issued at 3:09 p.m. by the NWS office in Jackson, Mississippi. Additional warnings followed from the Birmingham office, but hundreds of thousands of people across northern Alabama have no power, no television, no weather radio. Their cell towers are down from the morning storms. The warnings are going out, but for many, there is no way to receive them. Meteorologist James Spann, broadcasting on ABC 33/40 in Birmingham, recognizes what is happening. He begins continuous live coverage. His voice, calm, authoritative, urgent, becomes the primary source of warning for millions of Alabamians who still have power, or are watching on battery-powered televisions and mobile devices. The tornado reaches the southwestern edge of Tuscaloosa at 5:13 p.m. 5:13 p.m. The tornado enters the city. It is already at low-end EF4 intensity, nearly a mile wide. Tower cameras capture 5:17 p.m. The tornado crosses the intersection of 15th Street and McFarland Boulevard, a major commercial corridor near the University of Alabama campus. Restaurants, businesses, and shops near University Mall are completely flattened. Vehicles are thrown through the air. The staff of Full Moon Barbecue survives by sheltering in the restaurant's walk-in freezer. 5:18 p.m. Alberta City. This is the poorest neighborhood in the tornado's path, and it takes the worst of the damage. 65% of Alberta City is leveled. Homes are swept from their foundations. The La Rocca nursing home takes a direct hit. Fire station number 4 is destroyed. The firefighters inside survive, then immediately go to work rescuing their neighbors. 16 people die in Alberta City. 7 of them are residents of the nursing home who will succumb to complications in the days following the storm. 5:22 p.m. The tornado moves through Holt on the northeast side of Tuscaloosa. Homes along Crescent Ridge Road are leveled. A 34-ton metal railroad trestle is torn apart. And a massive Jeanette Barnes, 62 at the time, lives in Rosedale Court. When the warning comes, she does the only thing she can. She crawls into her bedroom closet. The tornado hits. The walls come apart. The ceiling collapses. When it is over, Barnes crawls out with minor injuries. She has lost everything. Her car is found upside down on top of another apartment, a block away. 9 of her neighbors are dead, including small children. Barnes will later say, "It changed Tuscaloosa forever. It's a day that you'll never forget. Never." Lauren Brown, 21, is a University of Alabama student from Wetumpka, Alabama. Ashley Harrison, 22, is a UA student from Dallas, Texas. Morgan Sigler, 23, is from Bryant, Alabama. Scott Atherton, 23, is also from Bryant. Melanie Mixon, 21, is from Mulga. Marcus Smith, 21, is from Tuscaloosa. 6 University of Alabama students are among the dead. They are in apartments, in houses, in the neighborhoods that ring the campus. They are in their early 20s. They have finals next week. They are weeks from the end of the semester. They do not have basements. Lauren Brown is 21. She is from Wetumpka, Alabama. Ashley Harrison is 22, from Dallas, Texas. She came to Tuscaloosa for school and stayed. Morgan Sigler is 23. Melanie Mixon is 21. They are studying or working or just living their ordinary Wednesday afternoons when the sky comes apart. On a campus of 37,000 students, 6 of them will not return for the fall semester. In the Rosedale and Alberta City neighborhoods, The victims are younger and older than the students. Much younger, much older. Caden Blair is 2 months old. Christiana Dixon is 8 months old. Christian McNeil is 15 months old. Zykeria McShann is 2 years old. Michael Bowers is 3 years old. Michaela Edwards is 5. Kashan Harris is 5. Sadria Harris is 8. 8 children under the age of 9 are among the Tuscaloosa dead. They die in homes that cannot withstand 190-mile-per-hour winds, homes built on hollow concrete block foundations where wood sill plates rest on top of the masonry but are rarely bolted to it. When the wind lifts the house off the foundation, there is nothing holding it down. The nails connecting the framing to the sill plates are the only resistance. Against EF4 winds, nails are not enough. Their names fill a page. Their ages do not reach double digits. Thelma Crawman, 89, and Tenny Lancaster, 95, are among the oldest victims. William McPherson, 85, dies in the Forest Lake neighborhood. Lola Pitts, 85, dies in Tuscaloosa. Over 1/3 of the fatalities in Tuscaloosa County are people over the age of 60. Elderly residents on fixed incomes, in homes without basements, in neighborhoods without safe rooms. Many could not move quickly enough. Some did not receive the warnings because their power had been out since 4 a.m. Some had no weather radio. Some had no one to tell them what was coming. In Alberta City, the firefighters of Station 4 crawl from the wreckage of their own firehouse and go to work. Their station is destroyed. Their equipment is scattered. They do not wait for orders. They begin pulling people from collapsed homes, triaging the wounded, and directing stunned residents away from gas leaks and downed power lines. The city's Emergency Management Office, the agency responsible for coordinating the response, has been destroyed by the same tornado. Radio communications are severed. For the first critical minutes, the rescuers are working blind. At approximately 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, the tornado enters the western suburbs of Birmingham at high-end EF4 intensity. It is now and has not stopped. The town of Pleasant Grove is devastated. Concord is hit. McDonald Chapel, Pratt City, Smithfield Estates, Forestdale, suburb after suburb takes the full force of the tornado. In Pleasant Grove, 36-ton railroad cars are overturned and pushed along the tracks by the wind. 20 more people die in the Birmingham area. The tornado finally dissipates at 6:14 p.m. Central Daylight Time, near the community of Argo in St. Clair County, after being on the ground for approximately an hour and a half. The National Weather Service determines the tornado's total path length at 80.7 miles. Its maximum width reaches 1.5 miles. Peak winds are estimated at 190 miles per hour, the upper threshold of EF4. In Tuscaloosa, the damage is forensic in its violence. Homes on concrete masonry foundations are swept clean, leaving only anchor bolts embedded in scoured slabs. 2-story apartment buildings are reduced to ground-level debris fields. A 300,000-square-foot reinforced steel warehouse, the Curry Building, is completely destroyed. A 34-ton railroad trestle is dismantled and scattered. Vehicles are thrown blocks from their original locations. Trees are not just snapped, they are completely debarked, stripped to bare white wood. Debris clearing in Tuscaloosa alone costs $100 million. The total damage across the tornado's path reaches $2.4 billion. At the time, the costliest tornado in United States history. More than 5,000 structures are damaged or destroyed. 12% of the city of Tuscaloosa is erased. Entire neighborhoods, blocks and blocks of houses, apartments, businesses, churches, are gone. Aerial photographs taken the next day show a mile-wide scar carved through the city, brown against the surrounding green, as if the earth itself has been skinned. A decade later, that scar is still visible in satellite imagery. 64 people die, 44 in Tuscaloosa, 20 in Birmingham. More than 1,500 are injured. 41 of the Tuscaloosa dead come from just 3 neighborhoods: Rosedale, Alberta City, and Holt. These are the poorest communities in the tornado's path. The homes are older, lighter, less anchored. Many lack any connection between the wood framing and the foundation. When 190-mile-per-hour winds arrive, these homes do not resist. They lift off their foundations and disintegrate, taking everyone inside with them. A 2012 CDC study finds that 96.8% of tornado deaths across Alabama on April 27th are attributed to trauma, flying debris, structural collapse. 54% of the state's dead are in single-family homes. 21% are in mobile homes. 39% of bodies are recovered outside, having been pulled from their shelters by the wind. The Tuscaloosa tornado is not the deadliest of the day. The Hackleburg Phil Campbell EF5 kills 72. But the Tuscaloosa tornado is the one that is filmed, broadcast, and watched. It is the one that burns into the national consciousness, because America watches it happen, live, and cannot stop it. April 27, 2011, produces 362 confirmed tornadoes across the southeastern United States, the largest single-day tornado count in recorded history. 4 of those tornadoes are rated EF5. 348 people die across 6 states, 247 of them in Alabama. The Tuscaloosa-Birmingham tornado is on the ground for approximately 90 minutes, from 4:43 p.m. to 6:14 p.m. Central Daylight Time. It tracks 80.7 miles across Greene, Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, and St. Clair counties. At peak width, it spans 1.5 miles. Peak winds reach an estimated 190 miles per hour, 64 killed, 1,500 plus injured, $2.4 billion in damage, more than 5,000 structures damaged or destroyed. The rating remains controversial. Some survey teams identify pockets of damage they believe warrant EF5 classification. In January 2025, researchers from the National Severe Storms Laboratory and the University of Oklahoma publish a paper designating it an EF5 candidate, noting that contextual destruction in several areas, particularly ground scouring in rural wooded stretches between Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, was consistent with winds exceeding 200 miles per hour. But the official rating stands at high-end EF4. The structures swept from their foundations lacked proper anchorage. The EF scale measures damage to structures as built, not the wind that destroyed them. The Tuscaloosa tornado and the broader April 27th outbreak transformed how the United States prepares for and responds to tornadoes. James Spann's continuous live broadcast is credited with saving thousands of lives. His coverage, hours of unbroken, authoritative, geographically specific warnings delivered directly to viewers, became a model for broadcast meteorology during tornado events. In a state where hundreds of thousands had lost power before the afternoon storms even began, television and social media became the last lines of defense. The city of Tuscaloosa invested over $1 billion in recovery. Rosedale Court was rebuilt with nearly twice the units. 302 modern brick townhomes replacing the 188 that were destroyed. Alberta City was reshaped with new green spaces, walking trails, and infrastructure. The commercial corridor along 15th Street and McFarland Boulevard was fully redeveloped. But the recovery was uneven. Wealthier areas rebounded quickly. Lower-income neighborhoods struggled. The tornado destroyed roughly 10% of Tuscaloosa's affordable housing stock, and the housing crunch it created persisted for more than a decade. Memorial plaques were installed at 3 sites across the city: Rosedale, Forest Lake, and Alberta City, honoring victims, volunteers, and first responders, respectively. At 5:13 p.m. on every April 27th, the city holds a moment of silence at the exact minute the tornado entered Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa Mayor Walt Maddox, who led the city through the disaster as a second-term mayor and still held office more than a decade later, would later reflect, "You go down University Boulevard and there's kids out there like a normal Thursday afternoon. And then you go a mile and a half down the road and you hit Alberta, and it's gone." The outbreak prompted FEMA to accelerate its community safe room grant programs in the southeast. Schools, community centers, and public buildings across Alabama and Mississippi added tornado-rated shelters. But the fundamental vulnerability remains. In Dixie Alley, millions of people live in homes without basements, without safe rooms, and without adequate anchoring to their foundations. The geology that prevents basements has not changed. The economics that prevent safe rooms have not changed. And the atmosphere has not changed either. Every spring, the same ingredients return: Gulf moisture, a jet stream dip, wind shear, supercells. And somewhere in the south, a mile-wide tornado will form, and it will move toward people who have nowhere to go underground. The cameras will be rolling, the warnings will be issued, but the buildings will still be the same. The foundations will still be unanchored. The safe rooms will still be absent. And the people with the least will still be the most exposed. The tornado did not choose Rosedale and Alberta City because those neighborhoods were poor. It chose them because they were in the way. But the poverty is why the buildings collapsed, and the poverty is why so many people died inside them, and the tornado will not care. Thank you for watching. Whether this is your first time here or you've been with us from the beginning, I appreciate every minute you spend with these stories. These stories take time to research, write, and edit. Every fact is verified. Every name is real. Every person mattered. If this story stayed with you, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, or sharing it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support is what makes it possible to keep telling these stories the way they deserve to be told. Every storm eventually ends, but the way we hold each other, that remains. Take care of one another. Stay alert, and I'll see you in the next one.